Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Bauer, the PI for ATE Central, which acts as an information hub for the AT community. And we're going to be sharing a little bit about the ATE PI conference call for sessions today. I'm joined by Ellen Haas. She's going to be going through lots of good material on our slides here. And at the end of the session, you'll have some information about how you can contact us and get more information. Ellen?
Thank you, Rachel. And thank you for watching this presentation. Thank you for your interest in the call for sessions. And we look forward to your contributions to the 2026 ATE conference program. I wanted to begin by just going over what we're going to cover in this session. We're going to just do a brief conference overview. We'll talk about the call for sessions, as Rachel indicated, and we'll also give a little bit of information on the student applications, because these are some of the deadlines that are forthcoming. They're first off in terms of getting our conference off the ground in October. So as I'm sure all of you are aware, this is the Advanced Technological Education Principal Investigators Conference. This is an annual national professional development and networking event for ATE grantees and their project partners. The event is sponsored by the National Science Foundation and the American Association of Community Colleges, and is primarily funded to a grant to AACC. And we have been very fortunate to work with NSF to host this annual event for the past 32 years. So this year marks our 33rd annual conference. The dates are on the slide. We are October 21 to 23 in Washington, D.C., and we anticipate approximately 850 people to attend this year. So again, thank you for being here and being interested in contributing to the conference program, which is obviously a very key piece of delivering a successful event. Hopefully you've all been to the website, but this is the master hub for all of our information from registration, which is open now, our housing bureau, the call for sessions where you would submit your sessions, the links to the student application, and all of our information is here. We will be building out the conference program and posting that here as well. But today, as Rachel said, we are focusing primarily on our call for sessions. So hopefully you have visited the website, you've taken a look at the call for sessions, and you've come here for a little bit more information. But this is where we ask all grantees are invited to submit proposals to conduct sessions as part of the conference program. We have a few different session types that we'll go over, but basically we're looking at sessions that are sharing evidence-based practices, case studies, lessons learned that demonstrate the impact of your projects and centers. So think about what are the pieces that are most replicable, what are the pieces that really align with what others are thinking, and then there are also sessions on the discussion side. Where can I learn to collaborate? So be thinking about that as you go through, but we are looking at you sharing your promising practices, you're highlighting those strategies that are transferable across disciplines or project areas. You're engaging participants in interactive learning, sharing practical tools and resources. And we're also looking to really demonstrate that collaboration. We know these projects don't exist in a vacuum, so we're really looking at those industry partnerships or your K-12 partners or whatever it is you want to be thinking about, those collaborations that have influenced your work. So let me just go over the session types. So again, if you've got any questions as you're thinking about what to put in, we're happy to address those. But on the front end of the conference, we offer what's called learning labs. These are 90-minute sessions. We have a number of facilitators. You can have up to 4 facilitators, but these are really structured as hands-on interactive sessions in kind of a classroom style setting. So think about offering an immersive learning experience where you're going to share an experience, an activity, and you're going to give someone the opportunity to try out those tools in this lab. So we think of them as kind of like, bring your own device sessions where you're sharing approaches and you're having participants leave with these skills and takeaways so they can apply your innovations to their own work. Community action sessions, these are a new session this year. We've heard, I really want to ideate, I really want to engage with others and think about how we're solving this particular problem. So we're providing these sessions on the agenda this year. So again, these are interactive, these are participant driven, but they're focused on collaborative problem solving around a shared challenge in the ATE community. So if you are proposing one of these, we're going to ask you to identify that challenge or question, and then how you're going to engage these attendees to work towards practical strategies or action steps. So again, it's kind of an exciting offering, so where you can really hone in on a specific issue and leverage one another's experiences and models. Spotlight sessions, these are more of your traditional panel sessions. These are 45 minutes in length. These should really be looking at, representing different projects, different partners. So it's not just a standard report out of your project. That is actually not a spotlight. So, this is an opportunity to think about ideas to ensure a stimulating, meaningful panel for participants, that you want a facilitator and you want a few key stakeholders or people from different projects or centers to address an area. So again, kind of your standard panels, but shouldn't just be focused on one aspect of your project. And if it does, then it really needs to bring in all those partners to flesh it out. So again, happy to talk about these session types, but your spotlights are kind of your standard panels and presentation focused. On the flip side of that, we have synergy sessions, also 45-minute sessions, but these are rather informal. If you think of a birds of a feather session. So if you're not into, I don't want to present, I really just want to engage, I want to facilitate some dialogue, open dialogue, this would be that place to do that. So you're talking about maybe how to collaborate, how to share some lessons learned, but these are more informal and discussion focused. Again, those are 45 minutes as well. But again, I do stress for these because I think we see this every year when we review. You really need to think of yourself not as a presenter in the synergy sessions, but as a facilitator and have some key questions of discussion you would like to stimulate. Innovation demos, these are 30-minute sessions that are formal presentations where someone will present an innovative strategy, a tool, something that is pertinent to strengthening STEM technician education. And they'll walk through a step-by-step process, talk about the tool or concept or strategy, and how it can be applied or implemented. So that's really looking to share the tool. If you've really got an AI tool that you've used in a very innovative way that would be relevant for others, this is the place to share that in a 30-minute, here's what we did, here's how to do it, and here's how you can take away and implement. So that's what we're thinking about when we're thinking about demos. And then we have ATE Connects countdowns. I like to think about these if you want to present, but you don't know where to start, but you've got some good strategies in an area. These are 10-minute sessions. These take place in the exhibit hall during what we call our ATE Connect sessions, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But this is where you're given 10 minutes and 5 slides. So these are the most structured of our sessions, as well as the shortest, if you will, to basically do a countdown of an area of relevance. So you're talking about top 10 or fewer strategies, such as top 10 ways to use AI in the classroom, top 5 strategies for student recruitment, top 10 ways to prepare my annual report, whatever that may be that you feel you can share some strategies on, how to engage with industry partners in that kind of fast-paced, just 10 minutes, 5 slides, kind of nuggets of a presentation. This is the place to do that. And they're interesting because they're in our exhibit hall when our AT Connect sessions are going on. So everyone has to wear what we call these disco headsets so you can hear the presenter. But there is a small room in the back of each AT Connect session where we hold the countdowns. And I did mention ATE Connects because that is a distinction I want to make between the call for sessions and the AT Connect sessions. Is, the session proposals, we want your best practices, we want your partners, we want you collaborating with other projects in doing a session on the conference agenda. AT Connects is really for you to talk about your project, to share your specific resources and to connect with others. So again, nobody's asking you to formally report out on your project, but AT Connects is the space where you would have kind of a one-pager that says, here's what's going on in my project and center, or center, these are the resources I have to share, come engage with me, let's talk about this. So they're set up as conversation hubs. Everyone is required, all active awards are required to host a conversation hub. So if that's what you feel you have to contribute to the conference, again, you're required to do that component. If you've got more to share and you've got things you would like to be on the conference agenda in a session format, that's where we ask you to do the call for sessions. We really do rely on the community to put forward the content that, is of interest to the community, of relevance to the community. And so we can share and build on this body of promising practices. So they work together, but one is very much more networking focused, where the sessions are, as you know, I'm sure you've all been to professional conferences, including this one, really designed to give those nuggets of information, whether it's through a learning lab or a demo or the dialogue of a spotlight session. I do want to mention our deadline is coming up. It's August 7th. This is a busy slide, but this information is on our website. If you are interested in submitting a call for sessions, you can also download all the fields in Word. None of these are long or overly cumbersome, but just so you're prepared for what we're asking, you would be submitting your grant number. We're going to ask you to select some areas of focus of where your session aligns, just so we can categorize it in the program and in the app. We ask you to identify a STEM discipline, fully aware that many sessions will be interdisciplinary or span, but these are just, again, some ways to help categorize the sessions. Certainly we'll ask for the organizer's information, or if the presenter is the organizer, we'll ask for your speakers. We understand speakers can change from August to October, but we do ask you to put in who you think will be speakers. It really helps us on the determining what goes on the conference agenda side to know that you've being thoughtful about who you're asking to run these sessions with you. We'll ask for a title, a program abstract, a couple learning objectives or discussion questions. If you're doing the community action session, we'll ask you specifically to identify that primary challenge or question that you want people to problem solve around. You'll do a brief outline and, again, a few lines. These aren't pages and pages of information you have to provide us, but just a snapshot of your target audience. It could be everyone at the conference. Maybe your session is a little more slated to those that are newer PIs or toward a specific discipline. All of that is very helpful for us as we learn where to put it on the program. Moving on, that's a call for sessions. And as I said, that's a lot of information. We'll have a few questions that I'm sure Rachel's going to ask me to help distill some of that information. But if any questions arise, you certainly can reach out to us, and we're happy to address them, and our contact information will be on these last slides. One other opportunity I wanted to make you aware of, because it's our next deadline and one of our most important, is student participation. Every year we can host up to 60 students to attend the ATE conference. Each grant may nominate up to 2 students to attend. It's a kind of a short application process that the student would need to fill out. And then as AACC selects those students, and we provide them, we comp their registration, complimentary registration, and we cover their hotel room for 3 nights. As a student attending the conference, we do ask them to participate in a student poster session, and that happens on Wednesday evening. So the very opening, our focus is where it should be on the students and the impact that these programs have on them. They also get engaged in a student and industry networking session, and they are honored in a student alumni breakfast on Friday morning, where they receive certificates of recognition from NSF and AACC. And so that's a nice celebratory breakfast for them at the end of the conference. And certainly, if you've got students and it's relevant to put them in your session proposals to present at the conference, we very much welcome that and would love to hear those student voices. So this is a heads up. Please do consider bringing students. The travel would be on the institution, but as I said, the hotel and the registration is covered by AACC. And we would, that application again, September 10th, not a cumbersome application, but we do ask for a little bit of information from the students. So students or recent alumni, we welcome them to participate in the conference. And so again, I do encourage you, if you've brought students in the past, thank you. Please continue. If you're new to bringing students, want to talk about it, we're happy to go over that with you, but we do encourage you to take advantage of that opportunity as well. Just a few things coming up, because that wasn't enough information for you. I mentioned the ATE Connects sessions. We have a whole information session, which will be live with Q&A, and so you can really dig in, because those are a little bit sometimes harder to understand, particularly if you're newer to ATE Connects, how to prepare for them, how to engage, how to get the most out of them. We run 2 sessions on the second day of the conference on Thursday. where we do one in the morning with a host of disciplines, and then we flip over the entire hall and do another one in the afternoon. So engaging in these sessions is on both sides, where it's you kind of manning or staffing your hub, and then also being on the other side and making sure you're engaging with other grantees. So we'll talk all about that on September 3rd in advance of the deadline for that, which is September 18th. Also new this year, you're going to be in Washington, D.C. We cover the night of October 20th, which is a Tuesday, because we start the conference on Wednesday morning. If you arrive in time on Tuesday and would like to take advantage of going to Capitol Hill to meet with your congressional representatives, to share information on all the good work and impact you're doing through ATE, we'll be running an information session on that, how you can do that, how you can contact those legislators, some ideas for what you could prepare to share with them. So if that is something of interest, it certainly is a welcome thing to share with legislators the impact of this program, particularly if you have students with you and you want to bring them into Capitol Hill. Again, we would encourage you to do that, and we're happy to walk you through that process. So we'll be offering that session with Jim Hermes, who is our Associate Vice President for Government Relations, on September 30th. And then finally, we have a conference orientation webinar where at that time we have the full program up, and we will go over the program and share lots of tips for how to engage. And that's where we really delve into, the full event. And if you've responded to the call for sessions, definitely want to be a part of that. Hopefully you're on the agenda and presenting. So that is some of the information sessions we have coming up. A reminder of our website and our email address is a general email address, ate@aacc.nche.edu. That actually is checked by both Courtney and me and a few others, so your question will absolutely get answered. And then I reference these, but just to reinforce some of these upcoming deadlines. Call for sessions is August 7th. Our student applications are September 10th. ATE Connects reservations for those conversation hubs are September 18th. And then hopefully you're getting registered and your housing squared away. That deadline is coming up on September 24th. Finally, this is a picture of our student participants from last year after the student breakfast. Some of them are holding their certificates. But this is the reason we all do what we do. Thank you for doing what you do, and again, being willing and being interested in this call for sessions and contributing to the program. That's all I had, because I've been speaking very quickly, I'm sure, but wanted to get a lot of information in. And then I'll ask Rachel to see if I can clarify a few points from questions we've had in the past, and emphasize that we are here for any additional outreach or questions.
Well, since we're looking at this lovely picture of students right now, Ellen, I wondered, I know people have asked in the past that, they want to bring students, but maybe some of their students have never even done a poster. Do you guys provide any help to the students in terms of preparing their poster, getting ready for the session, any of that good stuff?
That's a great question. And yes, we offer an information session specifically for the students and their PIs if they want to participate, where we go over the conference experience specifically for students, from logistics to preparing for the poster session to what to expect at the student industry networking session. So they're prepared for the event. We also have a detailed poster session guide, and we provide templates. So we have, I think, about 8 templates that'll be available on our website. That's very easy to kind of plug in their information. And we're asking students, some students will highlight a research project they've been working on, and that's what their poster will be. Some students will highlight their career path or their journey through the ATE program. So we leave that very flexible for them. It's their experience and what they want to impart with the community, but we do share those templates for their ease and their use.
All right. So let's get back to the call for sessions. Just a couple of things that I know have come up in the past. So often, a grantee, particularly a newer grantee, may be very excited about the idea of submitting a presentation, but they aren't quite sure. We have a lot of categories, which category it fits into. How can they get some help from you all in terms of figuring that out?
They can absolutely email us. That's a common question we get. And we're even happy to get on the phone to walk through, hey, I'm thinking about this. And if it gets to a point where you're close to the deadline and you can't get a hold of us because it's midnight, and it's due in a minute, make your best guess. Because what we'll do when we review is determine, oh, that really is more of a synergy session than what it came in as. So if we want it on the conference program, what I typically do is reach out before it's scheduled and say, hey, this was reviewed with our panel. We think it reads more as a synergy. Would you be interested in offering it here? So we would
Right.
take it upon ourselves to designate it where it might fit more appropriately, because our goal is to get it on the program. So again, if you've got questions on where it would best go, we're happy to address them ahead of time. If you get to a point where we've run out of time, but you need to submit, because the most important thing is just get it in, even if you're not quite sure that where it needs to go, we'll make sure it's crosswalked to the appropriate session type.
Great. And another thing, I mean, you went through the sessions really carefully, but there are a lot of them. Can you just give me a quick delineation in terms of which session types are sort of the more interactive and which are the more sort of panel or presenter focused ones?
And that's a really good question as well. Your most presenter focused, if you will, would be your spotlight sessions. Those are traditional, if panel presentations, and your demos. Your demos are meant to be, here's 30 minutes. I'm going to walk you through this. You might have time for some Q&A at the end, but those are very presentation focused. Your learning labs are a little bit of a hybrid, because obviously there's a lot of presentation involved in any lab, but there's also space within that to iterate with whatever concept or tool was being shared in the learning lab. So think of that in some ways as it's a demo, plus tacked onto that is let's play with it here and talk about it. So those are the more presentation focused. Certainly AT Connects countdown, you got 10 minutes. That's all presentation. And it's pretty rapid presentation. If people have questions, that's done away from the session, because we run them 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. Your synergy sessions are very much that birds of a feather discussion, and wanted to make that distinction. And your community action sessions, the distinctions between those, where synergies are a little bit less formal. Those community action sessions are really driven around collaborative problem solving. So you're coming in with a specific question, and those that are also interested in that specific question are coming together to identify, shared resources, thoughts about that, and potential actions and next steps.
All right. And then finally, and I suspect I know the answer to this one, but I'm just going to ask it for the good of the those watching. I know you talked about the fact that it's a requirement to do AT Connects, but is there a requirement for someone to submit a session for the PI conference?
Yeah, it is not a requirement to submit a session in response to the call for sessions. For AT Connects, we do ask you to sign up for a conversation hub. Again, that's a little cafe style table. It's a small poster, not an academic poster, just more of a small poster. And that's an opportunity to, think of it as, just a large networking opportunity. You're required to do that. That's with something outlined in the grant solicitation, that you would attend the conference and you would participate and share information about your program. That fulfills that requirement. But the call for sessions, again, we strongly encourage you, if you've got an idea for a session, if you think, oh, I really have something that I could do in a demo, please submit. Or I've been working collaboratively with these 3 projects to address this issue. It'd make a great spotlight. Please submit. And again, if you are unsure at all, please reach out to ask us. But our program is only as strong as the community that that submits to it. So again, while not required, we encourage you, if you feel you have something that fits into one of these categories, and that you're ready to present to or facilitate a conversation with the AT community.
All right. Well, I think that's all the questions I have on my list.
Well, thank you, Rachel, and thank you all. I hope this presentation was informative. Again, please feel free to reach out with individual questions. That is ate@aacc.nche.edu. And again, our website is consistently updated, but all of this information is there as well. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you all. And we'll see you on the next one in September, where we'll be
Yeah.
live.
We'll see you soon, and we look forward to seeing you in October, of course.
Thank you.